Hello, I'm Troy Gilbertson, and I'm here to talk to you about my presentation for organizational change. Some changes ahead. Overview. What am I wanting to change? Communication and consistency. Communication is key to success, and to have success, you need to have some consistency as well. Consistent communication helps build trust not only in our organization, but with the establishments that we interact with. So what research do I have? Well, I've conducted surveys with 10 individuals from our organization. They consisted of 10 questions using a Likert scale. They also had 2 open-ended questions on each of them. I also conducted some interviews, 3 interviews with 2 inspection staff and 1 with a supervisor. They consisted of 10 questions with questions that had some additional follow-up to gain clarity. And since I've conducted them and also have my personal observations and experiences, I am able to determine that our organization needs an intervention plan. Seeing many times the inconsistent messages being presented across our regions and a lack of communication creates workspace hardships and hurt relationships. Here are the survey questions that I have listed. Number 1 is communication across all levels of the Bureau is clear and consistent. 2, my supervisor provides timely and helpful feedback on my performance. Teamwork and collaboration are encouraged within my region. The organization's mission and vision are clearly communicated. I have the tools and resources needed to perform my job effectively. Number 6, workload distribution is fair and manageable in my area. 7, leadership is open to new ideas and feedback from staff. Number 8, employees are recognized for their hard work and contributions. Number 9, communication between central office and field staff is effective and consistent. Number 10, the organization is continuously improving how it operates. And the 2 open-ended questions I had was, what is one thing the organization could do to improve communication? And what change do you think would make your work more effective or satisfying? And here are some of the results from those questions. I'm not really going to read through each question, but as you can see here, I'm going to point out question number 1. Communication across all levels of the Bureau is clear and consistent. As you can see, we do have a number of responses. 3 of them strongly agree, 1 agrees, 3 are neutral, 2 disagree, and 1 strongly disagrees. Personally, I don't really care for the neutral one because it's like, well, where do I put that? But to me, the neutral column, if they did not choose agree or strongly agree, there might be a little bit of a communication discrepancy that they're not really comfortable maybe talking about or showing. So I kind of put that into the more negative category with the disagree and strongly disagree. So we had 6 that were kind of in that category. To only have 3 and 4 that agreed kind of shows to me that there is a bit of an issue there. As you can see on the other survey results, it did vary, but number 4, that the mission and vision, that is definitely clearly communicated, which that was really nice to see. And some more here. Number 9 is another one that pointed out to me. Communication between central office and field staff is effective and consistent. As you can see here, there wasn't much that agreed or strongly agreed, so that was kind of in the disagree category on that too. Next, I'll show you some of the questions I had during the interview process. Let's see, how would you describe your overall communication with our Bureau, and what communication methods work best? How do you feel the information you're receiving from the Bureau? Is it timely? Is it easily understood? Do you feel it's consistent across the different regions? When working with other departments or regions, how would you describe the teamwork? Do you have any ideas that might help improve this? Do you feel that you are able to manage your daily workload? When inspections are performed, do you feel they're consistent across the regions? Do you have any ideas how to maintain a consistent message? Do you feel that leadership and upper management recognize strong performance? Is the feedback fair and accurate? Can you tell me some of the biggest challenges that could affect your morale in the Bureau's mission and vision? When you bring something up in a meeting or another setting, do you feel you are being listened to? Can you tell me some strengths that the Bureau has when it comes to maintaining food safety standards? What improvements do you think could be made to the Bureau to make the Bureau better? And do you think some improvements would help overall? With those interview questions, I will keep those private at this time. If the responses are needed, I will evaluate that at a later time. Next, we have resistance. How will I handle this? I will introduce the plan to start to only a few staff. And once we get to see the results, we can then push forward to get more staff involved. I can assure you that this plan will save time in the long run and allow for better relationships to be built. Next, we'll talk about implementation and what I will be doing. So here's a little bit of a breakdown structure. As you can see here, the work breakdown structure, it's got 4 separate phases. I have them color coded. Phase 1 is in red, phase 2 green, phase 3 is in purple, and phase 4 is in yellow. We're going to schedule meetings with supervisors, upper management, present the implementation plan, provide checklists for review and approval, implement feedback given from management, review the work breakdown structure with all staff, deliver checklists and documents, provide explanation, and we're going to start to use the checklist. We're going to collect the data, we're going to graph that to show our trends, we're going to hold meetings as needed, and we're going to complete the direct observation forms. Finally, the last phase, we're going to review trends with all staff, evaluate feedback with upper management, develop further action plan if needed. So here is a little bit more about phase 1. I'm thinking phase 1 would be weeks 1 and 2. I'll be working to schedule meetings with supervisors and my organization's upper management. We will discuss my plan and they will be provided with a checklist that I've developed, and any other feedback will be implemented prior to the rollout of these checklists. Phase 2, week 3, I'll be going over the work breakdown structure with all staff, including inspectors, and I will deliver the checklist and any other associated documents to help improve communication and consistency and explain them. And then phase 3, we have weeks 5 through 12. We're going to begin using the checklist and collect the data weekly. This data will be used on a graph to show trends, and the meetings will occur if it is warranted. The direct observation documents will be completed during this time as well. And finally, we're on to phase 4, which is weeks 12 through 14. We're going to schedule meetings with all staff to review any trends noticed, evaluate meeting feedback with upper management, and develop a plan forward if needed with this data. And at the bottom here, I want you to note that these phases may be completed sooner than the estimated time frames. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about responsibilities. So who is responsible? The organization director will be responsible for the plan implementation, oversight, and approval. The supervisor will be responsible for completing the direct observations and help coach inspection staff as needed. They will track the checklist scoring and graphing. Inspectors will be responsible for implementing the checklist daily or weekly during inspections and report any findings back to the supervisor. Now here let's talk about a little bit of the potential cost. These costs are estimated time and cost that they could vary. Estimation to be anywhere from $500 to $2,500 depending on the circumstances. These activities will be performed during normal work hours, and if schedule adjustments are needed to achieve this task, the supervisor will be notified and involved in schedule adjustments. And I will start this by, as I mentioned, the checklist. One checklist is for communication, and one is for consistency. The data from these checklists will be documented on a weekly data entry table, which will be on the next slide. As you can see here on the communication checklist, it might be a little small, but there's different categories, and then you would check yes or no and any comments, and then you would score that. So you would score it with a 5 being excellent, a 4 being good, 3 adequate, 2 weak, 1 poor. So each line there you're going to score it, and then we're going to graph that number. Same thing for the consistency checklist. And here we have the data entry table that will coincide with the graph. This will be on a week-to-week basis. So, and here's the graph the data entry table graph. And here's an example graph that I made up some numbers for this just to show how the line graph will work. With information, as you can see from my example, you're able to see that from week to week how communication and consistency have played out. Week 6, the blue line shows that communication really took a dip. These could be many factors, but one thing I could think of would be, where someone is out of work status and now that communication line has been fractured. And as an organization, we need to be able to adapt to those things, such as people being out of work status for various reasons. I believe using the checklist, as I have mentioned, will be able to show how important communication and consistency really is within an organization. This is the direct observation form that will be filled out by the supervisory staff during the process. This is where they will be out in the field directly observing these checklists being completed and observing communication and consistency overall, and to make sure that the documentation is being done. And to conclude, overall, organizational change is something that all organizations have to go through at different times. Improving communication and consistency will help save costs, improve employee health and relationships, and ultimately improve the entire organization. Are you willing to move forward with this plan? I'd like to thank you for your time.